Now, have you been watching Gladiators? Me and my kids are absolutely obsessed. It was an opportunity actually to explain to my children about watching something on the television at the same time each week, because they had not actually experienced that. As far as they're concerned, you decide you want to watch something, you switch it on, and I've managed to get it into his head. At 10 to 6 on a Saturday night, we sit down and we all watch this, and it's absolutely brilliant. You can't move though for contestants around here. Let me introduce you to one of the latest.
My name is Wesley. I'm 35 years old and I work in the civil service for the Ministry of Defence. I'm a IT guy by day, wrestler by night. For me, Gladiators goes hand in hand with pro wrestling. As a pro wrestler, you've got to be physically fit, mentally capable, you've got to be able to perform on any given night. I've beaten some of the best wrestlers in the country. So, yeah, I'll put myself toe to toe with any of the Gladiators.
Yes! Civil servant by day, wrestler by night. He's Wesley, he's originally from Sheffield, and he's here with me in the studio now. Welcome!
Thank you. You okay?
I am so excited. I am so excited to meet you. And I remember when I watched the video of you, and I thought he's got a South Yorkshire accent. He's from Sheffield, then they didn't say anything, and I thought, why is that? And is it because they were worried that people were thinking, why is every contender pretty much from South Yorkshire?
I don't know. I did notice there was a few of us.
So many. I was thinking, what's in the water?
Oh, we're tough. They're building tough up here, don't they?
So tell me about your journey then, because you were a sort of super sub for Finley, who'd had this really unpleasant injury. What happened? Like, talk me through, like, how you got the call and everything.
Yeah, just an injury for him. I was always down as a standby up until that stage. So, but you also Finny troopered on. In my opinion, he's the best contender I've seen.
Well, he was amazing
so far. And you know, he told the words. He said he wants me to put on a show for him. So
you did.
I delivered, I think.
So obviously you are civil servant by day, wrestler by night. You know, obviously that kind of physical fitness, pushing yourself to the limit, was always part of, you know, your life. It's been part of your life for a while. But that's quite a leap to go, you know what, I'm going to go on Gladiators. So how did that come about?
Yeah, my eldest sister Nadine applied for me. She did all the application for me. Then she sent me, just fill this bit in, because she knew some details she didn't know. I was like, what are you doing? She's like, you'd be good at this. So here we are.
And when you end up on it, do you have to do any sort of training beforehand? Do you get opportunities to practice certain things, or is it very much you're just there on the day?
There you go, health and safety briefing. Don't do this. Have at it. Go against these full-time athletes. See how you go.
Oh my goodness! So there's not even. Did you do any kind of practicing, you know, in the gym or whatever? This kind of slightly replicates that kind of thing.
I think I may have had an advantage with the pro wrestling. All the physical contact. I'm used to that, so I was ready for all that. I do a lot of running, ultra marathons, mid distances, so I was ready for the running. So I think I was an all-rounder. I was ready for it already.
You were ready. Well, this is how, I mean, some would say sad in my household we are. I sat there and I was like, going through some of the contenders that have done really well, and I'm like, what is the key to achieving in Gladiators? Because you've seen certain contenders who, they're not necessarily the strongest, and maybe they don't do that well on like things like Duel and stuff like that. 5 seconds, you know, a millisecond, and they're knocked off. Especially if you end up with Giant. I mean, oh my goodness, that must be terrifying. Often it's the speed at the end, even if they've not got as many points. And you were close to not getting there, because other Finley. Wow, he came back from right behind. He was fast.
Oh, he's a military man. He's built for those obstacle courses. To be honest with you, I knew I had a pretty decent head start, so I thought, let me take my time, no mistakes. I was just taking my time, plodding along, and next thing I know, I saw him right next to me. I was like, oh no, so I had to put the burners on.
That must have been absolutely terrifying. It's interesting. It can be like one moment, if you do rush it, you know, you fall off something. That can be also. There's tactics involved.
I think that's the best thing about the Eliminator. It's I could go against someone and I'll win 50% of the time, they'd win 50% of the time. You just make a mistake, or someone gets a bit of adrenaline boost on the cargo net. You never know.
How long is the filming of the day? You know, is it sort of what you see, or is it hours and hours and hours? Because I'm just thinking about the other thing being, you know, you need to keep up the energy and the desire to keep pushing forward. It's endurance, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a very long day, and that's probably another thing I had in my back pocket with endurance running and a wrestling show. That wrestling show can last 4 or 5 hours. You might only see me for 10 minutes. So I'm used to those long days. I'm sure you have plenty of long days here as well.
Well, I mean, I don't want to get into a situation where I try and make out that it is as hard presenting a radio show as being on Gladiators. I think that would be pushing it. Let's talk about you. So you're a civil servant by day, wrestler by night. Let's talk about wrestling. When did that start?
I've been doing it 12, coming up to 13 years now. I always a fan as a kid. Everyone, when you're a kid, you watch Gladiators, then you watch wrestling.
Oh, yeah.
Went hand in hand for me. One of my friends wanted to go to training, didn't want to go on his own. I just graduated from university. I thought, I'll pop along with you. And 12 years later, I'm still doing it.
And is it, so obviously there's wrestling that you get, you know, in the Olympics, and then you've got wrestling with, you know, the kind of, all the kind of drama.
Yeah.
which type of wrestling is it?
You got it, the drama.
Oh, yes.
The drama.
So presumably you've got like a stage name. What's your...
Oh, it's my Ugandan given name at birth, Nsereko.
Wow!
Is the name I was going by, but obviously I'm on Gladiators now, so I'm rebranded Wesley Nsereko.
Oh, I love it. I love it. And do you have a tune that you come on to?
Oh, all sorts. I wrestle for True Grit Wrestling, and they've created me an amazing custom track. If I'm wrestling around the country, I may or may not use Toto Africa or a few Ugandan songs.
This is brilliant. You are listening to BBC Radio Sheffield. I've got the superest of super subs, Wesley, who just did absolutely amazingly in the quarterfinals in Gladiators. It aired on Saturday. It was an absolutely nail-biting finish to the end. We'll carry on talking to him after this.
James Mason has decided to go after the biggest prize in this company, but you have to question whether Mason has wrestled anyone quite like the Ugandan warrior before, who recently defeated another legend of this business in Rampage Brown in an all-out brawl.
On BBC Radio Sheffield, 13 minutes to 11, and I'm having an absolute whale of a time talking to Wesley. He is the superest of super subs. He came in to the heats because Finlay from Doncaster, who had got through to the quarterfinals, he did his knee in, and so at the quarterfinals Wesley stepped in. Originally from Sheffield, he's a civil servant by day, wrestler by night, and we're just going back. So you get into the quarterfinals as a super sub, and you have to go through all the trials and tribulations of Gladiators. Let's talk about Jules. So this, if you've not seen Gladiators, where have you been? But this is where you're on this podium.
Yeah.
So funny, when this first came out, my mum was like, how do they get on that podium? Do they airlift them? And I was like, I think they use a ladder, mum, like, isn't that?
Correct, yeah.
Why would they airlift? Come on. But you stand on a podium, and then you've got one of the Gladiators there, and you've got these pugil sticks. How heavy are they? Are they quite light, or?
The balance is a bit off on them, so it's you feel it when you've got to get your balance again. Once you've swung, it's hard to get your balance again and power up again. And
there's some absolute monsters Gladiators, aren't there? I mean, absolutely ginormous. And you got one of the most ginormous. Phantom. How is he? 6'5" or something? 6'4", 6'5", something like that.
He felt 7 foot when there's all the flames going off. He had his own entrance. He's got his cool hood. The entrance alone, I think it got me a little. I was like, oh no.
Oh dear. Oh my goodness. And then he's there. And how did it go? How was it for you?
Do you know what? Every time I hear the 3, 2, 1, I feel like I'm stuck in mud. I can't move. Then as soon as the whistle goes, it's like game on. Boom. So, when I said what I said on the day, every time it hit me, I was like, what's going on? It's like, took me a few seconds to reframe. Even though you've got that helmet on, it's like a little ding, but it felt like I was up there for... You did well. You did well, because often it's like blink and you miss it, especially anyone who gets stuck with giant. I mean, that's like... Do you sort of...
do you think, oh, who am I going to be up against? And do you think, oh, I've got a bit of a better chance with this particular gladiator? Or
I'm with you on that. I just didn't want Giant. In hindsight,
I don't think you should be allowed. I don't think you should be allowed. It's not fair.
Yeah.
It's far too hard. And then the process of doing gladiators, you're kept away from them, aren't you? You're not. The gladiators and the contenders are sort of separate.
Yeah, they've got their own. I think they had a Gucci. I've seen their locker room on the show now. They had a very Gucci locker room.
Oh, so yeah, what was yours like? Some kind of...
No, it was good.
Was it all right? Okay.
Sheffield Arena's got some good facilities.
You were looked after.
All I know is every time we rocked up for food, I think they'd had about 8 meals each.
Really?
Yeah, they were putting some food down them.
It's so fun. I mean, my little boy, so some of the facts that he's obsessed with. So he's obsessed with the fact that Giant eats something like 10 meals a day. And so because he wants to be a gladiator now, so he's always like trying to work out he keeps doing squats and star jumps and things like that. But I love these little tidbits that you get. And this week we found out that Phantom, 6'5", absolutely incredible looking guy, so just sort of arresting. Apparently his secret talent is tap dancing, which who knew? And when are we going to get to see him tap dance?
That won't surprise me. He did a few moves after he knocked me off. I remember looking up and he was dancing away.
Could be quite a good tactic. Start tap dancing on the podium just to to put him off. It's absolutely brilliant. So you've done this. You can't tell us where else you obviously you are sworn to secrecy in terms of how far you go. But in terms of the reaction that you've had following doing this, what's it been like? Did everyone in your life know you were going to be on Gladiators?
Close friends and family who were there with me, they all knew. They all watched the shows. I think there were rumblings that I'd been here, there, everywhere. I might have had a couple of weeks off work. Luckily, work were good enough to let me. They're always like me to go on all these fitness.
Brilliant. Well, what a thing, it's what a brilliant thing to put in the sort of internal civil service magazine. Look what we've done. But what I just think the reaction was, I've loved, and seeing it with my kids, is just how immediately, like I say, my son was like, I need to do some squats, I want to do some star jumps, that kind of inspiration for fitness. That's the bit I've loved the most. I've got loads of niece and nephews, and they've been gladiator mad since, and I think they've all been scaling the walls. Just so good. I'm sure there'll be some curtains that have been pulled down because of Gladiators.
I hope so.
No doubt. It's on you, Wesley. It's on you.
I'll take the heat.
I just think this is brilliant. If people, so we don't know where you get in the rest of the competition, but we're all going to be watching it and rooting for you and all of the other South Yorkshire contestants. But if people want to see you wrestling,
oh yeah,
what can they do? Where can they get? Like, when's the next time you're going to be taking to the?
I'm on social media as the Nsereko. I might be down as Wesley. You'll see me as Wesley. I think Gladiators tagged me and stuff. But I'm wrestling for. I've got a big championship match coming up in Leeds.
Amazing.
For True Grit. I'm the champion. True Grit champion.
Fantastic.
I'm the best of the North. Clearly.
Of course you are.
Against a very evil man who could be a bad one on Gladiators. Brady Phillips. I've been champion for over 1,600 days, so
that's a lot of days.
Yeah, people think it's all acting, all this. I deliver. You saw me on Gladiators.
That's the fighting.
You see me on wrestling.
This is why you did so well. This
9th of March, Leeds. Get that True Grit Wrestling.
Wes, it's been an absolute just joy to have you in the studio. My son will be so jealous. Wesley, one of the contestants on Gladiators, and you can see Gladiators again, BBC One this Saturday evening, or catch up on BBC iPlayer. My little boy watches each episode about 5 times.